Right.
The voice of the creative economy, Vincent Heeringa with Wammo on Kiwi.
As for my dialogue, good NZ marketing, stoppress.co.nz. Vincent Heeringa from his magazine bunker today. G'day, Vincent.
Good morning, Wammo.
When I say magazine, I mean most of it's digital these days as well, especially when you look at stoppress.co.nz. It only exists online.
Yeah, we launched about a month ago, and it's going well, actually. We're getting massive traffic and lots of comments. It's a website aimed at the marketing and media community, so covering marketing, advertising, the media, design, that kind of stuff.
It's funny because you say that it's aimed at them, and I guess specifically it is, but I would imagine that that anyone would find some of this inside ball, you know, the gossip behind some of the ads on TV or just general industry news is actually quite interesting to everyone.
Yeah, good. Well, yeah, people are interested in this stuff. I mean, a lot of ads, well, you look at Fair Go tonight, have got the ad awards. It's going to be the second highest rating program on TV.
Isn't that funny?
And that's watching ads.
Yeah, and people are meant to hate ads, right?
Exactly, Wammo.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love advertising. I can remember every single jingle.
Yeah. The Fair Go awards always puzzle me because the ones that lose are sometimes the best ads.
Yeah, they've said in their press release yesterday that there's one ad that is in the worst and the best list.
Right. Yeah, that's odd, isn't it? I think people get confused with their emotions about some ads.
Yeah, it's a bit like art, isn't it? I suppose, kind of the point of it is to generate reaction and memory and recall. And iSnack probably qualifies in that regard, doesn't it? That's just talking about what's hot on Stop Press at the moment. That the iSnack 2.0 controversy. Do you know about that, Wammo?
No, this is the new Vegemite product in Australia. Yeah,
so Kraft, the makers of Vegemite, had the brilliant idea of combining cheese and Vegemite, which we all do anyway, right, on our toast on a Saturday morning.
Actually, I do something like you, aren't they called like toad in a hole? Or is that whatever you melt cheese on Vegemite on bread in the oven? What's that called?
Well, we used to call it Tiger Toast.
Tiger Toast, okay, yeah.
And, what's wrong with Tigermite? That could have worked quite well.
So they had a competition, didn't they?
Yes, they did, and they had 47,000 entries. Just gives you an indication of how passionate the Aussies feel about their Vegemite. And the idea, I suppose, was to engage their customers in kind of brand name recognition and generation and so forth.
Yeah.
And they managed to choose the lamest name that has just sparked a kind of a wave of fury from all Vegemite fans. They've chosen iSnack 2.0, as in, iMac.
Yeah. So
it's a little lowercase I, Snack 2.0. And out of 47,000, that's a pretty disappointing choice, given that you could have had such brilliant things as Vegemite.
What is disappointing? Or in cheesy, that's obvious, right? But so what is disappointing about this? Well,
where do I start? I suppose let's choose three things that are disappointing about it. It's faddish, so by the time they've finished printing the labels, it's the kind of name that now that will be out of fashion. Before they've even managed to get the glue onto the bottles.
Yeah.
Because there's only one company that's managed to make the I thing work, and you think about any product that has an E in front of it now, it's so 90s, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true.
And so it's going to be dated. It's also incredibly stupid. I mean, in what way does it relate to anything to do with information technology, which is what the I would stand for? And the third thing is that it's so sort of unmemorable and Vegemite is a great name, isn't it? It rolls off the tongue. It's typographical. It's a beautiful thing. And iSnack just 2.0 was it's stupid. It's ugly.
I'm just looking at the jar now. It's iSnack 2.0.
I mean, it sounds like a joke name to me, and I think everyone is hoping that it will be a joke name. And so there's been a kind of a backlash of the Cadbury proportions, where there is a website has been set up on Reddit. There are the Twitterverse is full of people complaining about it. Our comments on Stop Press went ballistic yesterday when we put up a wee story about it. The Herald has, I think, had 90 comments on the story that they ran yesterday.
I would have thought that that Apple would have had a bone to pick with Vegemite on this, or Kraft on this one. They're normally very protective of things that have I in the front. Yes,
they are, and indeed there is a intellectual property dispute happening right now in Australia over the name. The Sydney Morning Herald ran a piece quoting an IP expert who said it's unlikely that it would proceed, given that it's in such a different class of product, so all the intellectual property protection around the I will have to do with computers and information technology and education and so forth, and information. Probably wouldn't be in the snack food category.
Right, but the funny thing is that there is so much talk about this product. So the promotion has happened in the media for this new Vegemite product. So it's kind of worked in one respect.
I suppose it has, but just awareness is not sufficient to drive behaviour, and people need to have an affection for the product. And I suppose at one level it's worked; it's generated publicity, but is that going to result in sales? Look at what happened with Cadbury. Everyone was talking about palm oil and Cadbury. That actually drove sales down.
But on the other side of the coin, why is there such an uproar when this is a product from a company, a private product? It's not a public good. Surely they can do what they want. Why is there so much ownership about this from the public?
That's a really interesting question, isn't it? And there's a theory in branding that people own brands, companies don't own brands. That there's a sense of ownership. Kevin Roberts from Saatchi went so far as to call them love marks, that people have a love affair with brands. And there's a kind of collective sense of ownership around things like Coke, for instance. And when Coke was introduced, when the new Coke was launched, there was waves of criticism and outrage, and Coke had to back down. And what's fueling the current lot, Wammo, is what we've talked about before, is the power of social media to inflame these things into kind of discussions that happen on a grand scale. So whereas they might have happened around at the pub or the dinner table, now they're happening in people's lounges, and people are doing that instead of watching TV.
Yeah,
and doing as they're told.
That's very true. So the discussion is happening up at stoppress.co.nz.
Yeah, there's a bit of a debate there about, and what's quite nice about Stop Press is it goes, then you get branding experts ploughing in and talking about, other NAF brand names over the years, and intellectual property people coming in. So it's quite a good debate. It's not just your usual rebel. Another one that
it's not the Your Views section of the NZ Herald.
Exactly, Wammo.
Yeah.
Exactly. But that's there are other stories that are hot at the moment in marketing, and I just wanted to touch briefly on. We talked a little while ago about TVNZ conducting a review on its commission structure. So this is the way that advertising agencies get paid.
Yeah.
And I'll just summarise. So when Telecom or Telstra Clear, say, pays TVNZ $1,000 for an ad, more likely to be $15,000 or $20,000. Let's say $1,000. $200, so 20% of that, goes back to Telstra Clear, who then use that money to pay the advertiser to create the ad.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an anachronistic system that developed because advertising agencies used to be part of the newspaper industry.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, TVNZ have reviewed their commission, and they have announced that from January 2011, they're going to reduce their commission by 10%, so half. They're going to half the amount that they pay back to the client,
right,
which will then pay the ad agency. And there's quite a lot of debate and concern about this from the ad industry, you can imagine, because they're potentially looking at halving their revenue.
Okay, so it's significant and certainly a big deal within the industry.
It is.
Yeah. Okay, thanks very much, Vincent.
Pleasure, Wammo.
Stoppress.co.nz, where people can go and follow this all week. And I recommend signing up to the newsletter as well, which you get in your inbox
It's free.
twice a week. It's free, exactly.